Or as I was called at work in an email earlier today, why? And it's like, okay, do I let them know that they did it wrong? Because I'm just thankful I have a job now and don't want to annoy anyone. It's been a while since anybody's called me that at work, and I was a little more annoyed when it happened many years ago in suburban Chicago. Uh, uh, I don't know. When you get older, you realize priorities is all I can think of. Now for the regularly scheduled jokes. All right. Uh, yeah, as usual, I look at my online activity to remind myself of what's been happening. It's still doing working just fine doing the two movie weekend. Redbox rental was Imperfect Murder, and the other movie I did was Pure Country. Uh, Imperfect Murder, I guess I'm going to remember it as activist investor Carl Icahn appearing as himself. And it's like, okay, I guess we have seen billionaires appear as themselves before in movies and TV. I think some guy named Mr. Trump has done it many times, so why not Mr. Trump? At first, I was kind of surprised that he was there, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, people appear as themselves all the time on TV and movies because, especially non-actors, because that's really the only role they can play. Especially athletes that are so well known a certain way that trying to play another role, I just don't think would work. Or even California Governor Gray Davis, after he lost to Arnold Schwarzenegger, appeared on a TV show as himself. It's like, yeah, what other role can you play other than yourself? Even Drew Carey said that about doing a sitcom. It's the only role that he could play was himself. Because it's like became a game show host too. Pure Country, that was a double feature that I had bought from Amazon. The other movie on it I had watched on Veterans Day, which was Honeysuckle Rose, both country music movies. And they both have their merits. I'm trying to think of lasting impressions from the two. I guess with Pure Country, I thought it was odd that this story was a case of the main character just ditching his band for a while and then deciding the way that he really wanted to do music. Although I liked it when he visited his grandma because the grandma said something that I very much agree with on music. If it's too loud and you can't hear the words, then is it really good music? Yeah, I guess I do feel that way. I've been to shows before where the amplifiers turn up so high, it's like, I can't really hear it, even if that's the effect that you're going for. I guess I can circle back to that later on about how the meaning of the song is greater once I've listened to the lyrics. If you can believe it, took me a while on one song in particular. I know that I'm the type that has a hard time just leaving things alone. And I'll explain that one. Of course, I do the commute to work now, working at a bank, and I'm the type that in the winter I like knowing that windows on my car will go up and down after I've cleared the snow and ice on them. Except that this was the passenger side window, which didn't matter quite as much. And after fiddling with it for a little while, I was able to get it down. But oops, couldn't get it back up. So then I had a cold drive to work one morning when I couldn't get the window back up. And then after an hour of work, I went back out when I had some free time and I cleared a little more ice from where the window goes in and out. And then, yay, solved the problem. I don't know what I learned from that. But it's still a good story. And it's probably good that nobody was writing with me. Otherwise, I would have had somebody complaining at me the whole time. But I said after that, yeah, I had to do that as a blog entry title. I still hear weird things from people all the time. I would title on Facebook postings as weird interactions with the general public, especially when I was going to karaoke bars to sing. This week there was two in particular. When I was out walking on Veterans Day, day after the snowstorm, I heard somebody say, first taste of winter. Oops, you forgot about October. It snowed that month too. Except I didn't say that to him. Sometimes I just prefer to let people pass because, yeah, it leads to more conversation and challenges to somebody's reality. I've learned that before where I try to go by facts, other people try to go by emotion, and that can cause clashes with people. And I think of myself as a mild mannered dude, and yeah, it's good to avoid as many clashes as possible. Well, I didn't go to bars for a while until I started performing regularly. And then the other one was when I was at the laundromat, and I know sometimes people like to stay there and stay occupied. I live close enough to the laundromat where I take walks and go home for a little while, especially during football season, where I can watch a few minutes of football and go back. Well, I saw a dude there that was reading papers, and he was a little bit behind because I noticed the headline on one of them was about the death of game show host Alex Trebek. It's like, yeah, that's been about a week. And then it said something about how he brought class to being a game show host. And it's like, well, why would that be? Because more often than not, game show hosts are comedians. That's the best thing I could think of. And that's even what I said to the old dude. And then eventually I got into how I would go to comedy shows. Didn't talk about doing stand-up comedy, though. I try to avoid that one. And then I said I got bored with certain jokes that just weren't funny, but were still being done by not very good comics, including Hitler and the Nazis. And this old dude had never heard of Godwin's Law. And it's like, really? I figured that was such a common thing that most everybody knew what it was. It's like, yeah, I guess it's possible that some people still haven't heard of that. So I explained to him what Godwin's Law was. Some people do that Hitler comparison, and then they get reminded, hey, this is why Godwin's Law exists. Ignorance is everywhere, unfortunately. Oh, and work is still a good source of jokes too. Like this morning, pretty early, I had somebody make a special request on Skype, and all I did was type two letters, GM. And yeah, they probably meant good morning, but I was a smart ass and I said General Mills, General Motors, and then I got a few smiley faces from them. I mean, I still helped them, but it's like they just put it out there. What did they expect? I'm not out as a comedian there either, because I just want to do my work. I don't want to be the dude that is being asked to tell somebody a joke all the time. Oh, and of course, Facebook is a good source of material too. I'm sure that some people are doing entire sets about the pandemic, and I haven't found a lot of things that are funny about it yet, except I just did with a Facebook posting from a classmate. She's a nurse back in my hometown in central Iowa, and I know it's tough for her right now with the pandemic, like it is for most healthcare professionals. Although my mom's a nurse's aide, she hasn't talked about how hard it is for her, but well, she's close to retirement. If she gets sick of everything, she can just say, I'm done, because she's old enough that she's good. But with my classmate, she said she was so sick of everything, and one of those things was COVID. And then it's like, well, I just typed my response to her. Sounds like you need a hug. Oh, wait a minute. Bad idea during a pandemic. How about an elbow bump? And she loved it. And it's like, good. I guess there are some decent pandemic jokes out there. If you're, as the saying goes, as we seek, so shall we find. Oh, yes, back to music. I'm the type that really likes reading interviews with people. I know I would always say, well, I read the Rolling Stone interview when I was reading that magazine a lot. I still like getting the paper every Friday, even though since the pandemic began, I haven't seen movie listings in there, even though movie theaters have reopened. But I liked the interview they had with musician Smokey Robinson in there, and I guess there was something new that he put out. Otherwise, I'm not sure why an interview would be done. What stuck with me in that entire interview was when they got to the story of the song Tears of a Clown. And I'd heard the song many times before, but I always thought of it as a happy song. I must have been ignoring the title and didn't pay attention to the words, because I mean, in the background, it sounds pretty upbeat. And he did explain, Stevie Wonder wrote the melody to it, and he said, it sounded like the circus. And it's like, okay, that must be why it sounded like a happy song to me. It's like, well, as a comic, it meant a little more when it was name checked in other songs like Eminem's "Beautiful," where they say, "Marshall, you should be a comedian." I am, but I hide behind the tears of a clown. But this time I finally listened to the words to the song on YouTube, and it's like, yeah, it is pretty deep. So, yeah, yay for you songwriters where you know how to get people really captivated by your words. I mean, it was a #1 hit back in 1970, and yeah, in some ways it reminded me of being at the Motown Museum in Detroit when I was there over a decade ago. It's like, yeah, I've got time. I want to see a museum. That's a good place to go. Yeah, looks like I got everything, got to everything on my list. So yeah. Oh, and the other thing about researching that song was he mentioned Pagliacci. I thought that was the name of an opera, and I guess when that part is in the song, that was lost on me because it went so fast. I didn't know what it meant. So yeah, hey, I learned something from it, so that's cool too. So that'll do it for me. Thank you, both been great.
Yay! Thank you, Lyle.